It was simply charming. You know, let me just say this. If there is a film that is out this holiday season that can speak to everybody, it's this film. I have been wanting to see this for the past 6 months when I first came across the trailer on the internet, and I couldn't wait another minute. So I went to the theater just now to see it, and I loved it from beginning to end. You know, believe it or not, there are some people, a lot of people, even today, who have never heard of Mary Poppins, if you can believe that. And I feel that even if you've never seen the movie, never read the books, never heard of her, I encourage all of you to see this film. Because even though I grew up with this film, Mary Poppins, I grew up with that movie. It's been a huge part of my childhood. Not just my childhood, but so many others. Millions of people. And now that I've seen this film on how they made Mary Poppins, it brought back so many memories of being a little kid. There are scenes in this film. Okay. Let me just say this. I have heard of people conversing with others, talking about Mary Poppins, and talking about this film, Saving Mr. Banks. And a lot of people don't want to see it because they never grew up with Mary Poppins. They don't want to see it. They think that Tom Hanks he's not doing Walt Disney very well. He's not doing a Walt Disney accent or anything like that. He looks nothing like him. If that's keeping you away from this film, I feel sorry for you because you're missing out on one great time at the movies. So let me give you the story, because it's not what you think it is. This is not a movie that explains how they made a classic film. You can watch a documentary on how they made Mary Poppins. What this movie is about is pretty much summed up in one question. Why did it take 20 years for P.L. Travers to give the rights to make the film version of Mary Poppins to Walt Disney? And it's all explained very, very eloquently. It's just perfect. It's explained very well in this film. And one of the main reasons why it's explained so good is the fact that it, as I said before, brings back so many memories of me being a kid, because there are scenes in this film that take me back, because I haven't seen Mary Poppins in a long, long time. I have not seen that movie in a while, but I'm telling you this, I'm definitely going to watch it the second I'm done filming this review. You know, there's a speech in the movie that really moved me. It's when Tom Hanks, as Walt Disney, goes to see P.L. Travers after a long, long period of her just downing everything that they're doing. She doesn't like the music that they're doing. She doesn't want cartoons. She doesn't want, animation and live action together. She doesn't think Dick Van Dyke is right for the role. She doesn't like anything that they're doing with it. And Walt goes over to her, and he flies all the way over to England to see her after she's left. And he says to her, storytellers find new and interesting ways to tell people stories, because I have loved Mary Poppins ever since my daughters showed it to me. And I don't want to make this movie just to add another film into the archives under my name. I don't want to make Mary Poppins for that reason. I want to make this movie because I loved this story, and I want others to enjoy it just as much as I have. And it reminds me, he didn't say it exactly like that, but I'm paraphrasing there. And the reason why I love that so much, that whole scene of him trying to convince P.L. Travers that this movie will be something, is because any person who wants to go into film or writing or computers or video games or food or what, it all has to do with creating something. Whatever you're interested in, you love it. And you love it so much that you want others to enjoy it. I have never heard of a film, let alone a Disney film, that has said something like that. If that exists somewhere else in a movie, please let me know, because if this is the first time I've seen it. And I just fell in love, because it reminded me of when I was 12 years old and I started making movies, because I loved it so much. Even if it was a tiny little 8mm movie in my little studio, my bedroom. The only people that got to see it were my parents, but I loved doing it because seeing people like Steven Spielberg or John Hughes or Robert Zemeckis or Tim Burton or anybody, they made something because they loved doing it and they want to share it with other people. And I said, you know what? I like movies, and I like the idea of making movies, and I want to try to do that too, and I want to see if anybody else can enjoy that, because I'm enjoying it. Why can't they join in and enjoy it as well? And the thing with the film of Mary Poppins, people still talk about it. People still love it. People are still talking about it with other people who have never even heard of it. And if a film can still do that to people 50 years later, almost 50 years later, well, then there must be something good about that movie. There must be something good about it, and there is. Not just because it's a film that you watch when you're a child. Not because of that. But because it's something that stays with you. A lot of things stayed with me when I was a child. A lot of great things. Things I will never forget. Things I will pass on to my children, and hopefully their children will pass it on to theirs, and so on and so forth. And it's simply magical, and it's interesting. You know, I heard somewhere, I don't know if this is a quote, but I've heard somewhere that when an artist dies, even though he's dead and gone, the art still remains. And Walt Disney has been dead for 45 years at least. We're still seeing his name everywhere. People still go to Disneyland and Disney World every day. People still people have dreams of working at the Disney studios. There are people who are hungry to be animators because they saw a Disney film when they were younger, or a cartoon or something, and they want to pursue that dream. I saw Jaws when I was 8 years old, and that made me want to become a filmmaker. I saw the Disney films when I was a kid, growing up in the 1990s, and that made me want to be an animator. It was a very short time, because I found that animation is hard to do, but it wasn't the Disney films that made me want to do that. No, it was the Pixar team that made me want to do that. But who do you think influenced Pixar? And I know I'm all over the place with this film, but I'm telling you right now, you will have an awesome time at the movies when you see this film. Emma Thompson deserves an Academy Award nomination for her role as P.L. Travers. She might be a tight ass at times, but you understand why she's like that. She's not doing it just to throw anyone under the bus. She's not being harsh on anybody. She's doing it because she wants to save what she grew up with, and that is her father, an alcoholic. And I'm telling you, it makes me look at Mary Poppins, the film, in a whole new light. It does. And I think it will for other people who have enjoyed that film for a long time, including myself. So I hope that after everything that's been said about this movie and everything that you think you know about this film, the ones who haven't seen it yet, forget all that. Go in, purchase a ticket, sit in your seat, and watch this 2-hour film. Because you will love it. I really think you will. Even if you haven't seen Mary Poppins, the movie, all 2 of you who haven't seen it, but even if you haven't seen it, I strongly suggest you check this movie out in the theaters. It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.